Begin. When you open Instagram or Google in your browser or in the app, have you ever thought where does the data comes from? How can you see whatever you're seeing in your screen? So, if you do have this question, then it sets the stage for the client server model. Hello friends, welcome to Elivan's Tech channel. Let's begin our journey on client server model. Before we start explaining it, let's have a look on the definitions. The first one is, what is a client? A client is a device, an application where you request something. For example, it's a web browser where you type any URL and you request for that web page or the applications to load. So that is a client. It can be your browser, it can be the app that is running on your mobile phone, it can be some applications running on smartwatches. So anything that requests data or any service from the server, it is known as a client. The next question is, what is a server? A server is a computer system that responds to the request of the client and serves it with the data or a web page or whatever has been asked for. So you can think of it, for example, you'll want to watch a movie on Netflix. So for say you want to watch Home Alone, and you just click on that movie, you request for that movie to be played on your uh, screen, and the request gets to the server and it plays it for you. So that is a server. It's a complicated system, or it can be very simple computer. Okay, so that was a definition of a client and server. Let's see how it actually works. Just get an overview about it. Begin. So assume this one is your browser or the app, and this one is a server that is running on the backend. This one is the server. This one is the browser. Okay, this is working. This is the client. This one is the server. So you want to load a web page. So you will send a request to the server. Okay. Then server will process the request. It will look. It can look into a database if it has to. Sorry, it will look into the database. If it has to look into the database, or it will process it if it is a simple request, and once that has been done, it will return the data back to client. So this is what simple happens. The client sends a request to the server processes it. If it is a simple request, then it will return to the client. Otherwise, it will look into the database or other equipments it has to, then collect all the data, returns back to the client. This is what the simple client server model is. Okay. So next we will look into request and response lifecycle. Before getting into it, we have to first know what a lifecycle is. A lifecycle is a sequence of steps or phases any work, object, or a process goes through in its entire existence. Okay, so for example, have to do a work, and for that work to get completed, you goes through different stages, and all those stages comes under its life cycle. Similarly, the client and server, that communication that happens between them, goes through 4 steps or 4 phases. Okay, and we will going to look into it. What are those phases? So let's have our client and server again. This is our client, and this is our server. Okay, so the first phase is, this is phase 1. Phase 1 is request. Okay, let me get it up. Okay, in first phase the client sends a request to the server to get any data or any web page to get loaded. So the request can be a simple www.google.co.in. It will fetch you the web page, or it can be as complicated as getting the data of 100 databases. So it can be anything. So it is just a request that gets triggered or sent to the server. This is the phase 1. In next phase, the server processes the data, processes the request, sorry. It processes the request. It can either look for any data in database DB, or it can call any external server or external services. So it can be anything. So in phase 2, the server processes the request. If it is a valid request, then it tries to get all the data that has been asked for in this second phase. So once that second phase is got over, server sends a response. This is phase 3. The server sends the response in the form of a web page, in the form of JSON data, or in form of anything that the client can understand in that form. Okay, so it sends a request to the server. Server processes the request, generates the response, and in phase 3 it sends the response. In phase 4, there is another phase. In phase 4, the client renders it. Renders means it gets shown in the format that has been asked for from the server. For example, if it asks for the data to be in the JSON format, then it gets to it in the JSON format. Or if it asks for in the form of a web page, it gets displayed in its UI. So that's it. These are the 4 phases in every client server model. Client sends a request, server processes it, generates the response, sends it back to the client. The response get visible to the client in the requested form. So this is a life cycle of request and response. Let's try to analyze it from a real world example. Start. So in real world, let's assume you have gone to a restaurant and you have gone through the menu and ordered something. So you asked for a request. You request a dish to the waiter or the person who is taking orders. This is the first phase. Okay, this is phase 1. In the next phase, the waiter gives the order to the chef who is preparing the meal. So the chef gets the order, checks it, gets all the ingredients, assemble them, prepare the food that has been asked to. Then, in the third phase, this one is the second phase. In the third phase, it's he just hand over the food to the waiter who is serving the food to the client. And the last phase is the food gets to the table of the client. So you have seen it. You ordered for a food, an item. The request goes to the chef with the help of a waiter. The chef assembles everything that is required, prepares the food, dispatches the food, and then the food gets to your table. This is how client server model works. This is a real life example. Exactly, it happens in the computer science, how the data gets back to the client from server. So in the system design series, we will handle every topic that is required to understand the whole scenario. So that's all from this video. I hope you have learned something from this video. If you have learned something, please give it a like, subscribe for more such content, and hit the bell icon so that you never